Hello, my little artists. So today we're going to be working on a Miro and kind of Vincent van Gogh mashup. We'll be creating depth in our space to make it look like we're in a room. So space is the area in and around your artwork, and depth is the illusion that there's more space in your picture than it actually is. So for example, we know that this is a flat 2D paper, but because of the way that I drew my picture and the techniques that I use, you can see that it feels like you're entering the room and that this is the back wall and there's a door and a window and a floor that helps you believe that there's more space in this picture than there actually is. So you want to make sure that you have everything you need before you get started. We're going to cheat a little bit with our 1-point perspective, and we're going to use a tracer for the back wall. You're going to need a pencil with a really good eraser, so make sure you grab your eraser, and a ruler. Now I'm going to give you a little tip here, and it's a tip that you must use. So I want you to match up the top of your ruler with the top of your paper. That is the only way that you're going to guarantee that your line is vertical, up and down. Same thing goes for a horizontal line. You want to make sure that the end of the ruler is even with the end of the paper. This is a serious pro tip. You need this. So after we've got our name on the paper, we're going to go ahead and take our tracer and put it as close to the middle as you can. We're working a little smaller than we normally do. So you want to put your tracer middle of the paper and then go ahead and trace around it. Now you want to draw pretty lightly. We will be doing lots of erasing. Now, here comes the part where we make it look like our square now is a ceiling, 2 walls, and a floor. From each corner of your square, you're going to line it up so that you're going from the corner of the square all the way to the corner of the paper. Not estimating, exactly. Perspective is one of those things that needs to be done exact. Do that on all 4 corners. So now that you can already see, it kind of starts to give you the illusion that this is farther back because it's smaller. Things that are farther away are drawn smaller. Now we're going to use a vanishing point. A vanishing point is where things disappear. Now our horizon is technically in the middle. Our eye level is in the middle. So we're going to put a teeny tiny little dot in the middle of your paper. Now we're going to take a second to do the floor. The floor can be a little tricky if you don't follow the steps. So making sure that the top of your ruler is even with the top of your paper and that you're right here at the center, you're going to start at the bottom and make a straight line. Now, we talked about how everything gets smaller as it's farther away. So the row of tiles that are over here against this back wall are going to be a little bit smaller. To accomplish that, we have to put our ruler on the dot and then make another line down here. Then keep the ruler on the dot and make another line. Do the same on the other side. Notice that I'm not drawing in here all the way through here. I don't want to erase all of this. So I know that I need to keep my ruler on the dot, my vanishing point, hold it tight, and draw my line from the bottom. Tilt my ruler, draw my line. So all of those lines are called converging lines. They will all meet in the dot if we actually drew them. Now we've got to do the horizontal lines that go side to side to make our tile pattern. So making sure that the end of the ruler is even with the end of the paper, you're going to draw a horizontal line just on the bottom. Do that 2 more times. So I was only able to fit 1 more line, but that makes it just a little bit easier. Now we're going to do a door, and this is the part that tricks everybody. So let's take it 1 step at a time. I like to tilt my paper when I draw. So I'm going to put my ruler so that it's touching the dot. And then I'm going to draw a line using the ruler. I know that it appears crooked, but it's not. So now we're going to do the sides of the door. Making sure that the top of your ruler is even with the top of your paper, you're going to go all the way down to the floor. Do that over here too. Now on this side. Now, our window is not going to come all the way to the ground like our door did. So we're going to start with the top and then the bottom of the window. So making sure that your ruler is on the dot. Let's see, I want my window about there. I aim my ruler and I draw the top of the window. Keeping the ruler on the dot, draw the bottom of your window. Now, using the top of the ruler, making sure that it's even with the paper, close your rectangle. Those were the really two hard ones. Now we're gonna go ahead and do the picture that's gonna be in the back. You don't have to put your picture in the same spot that I did, and it doesn't have to be a rectangle or a square. It can be a long rectangle, however you'd like it. Still using the top of my ruler to make sure my lines are perfectly vertical. Now you can go ahead and trace everything in Sharpie. So now we've got a pretty simple room that's all traced in Sharpie. We're gonna do a checkerboard floor because that really helps us see the depth. So we're gonna pull out all of the fun colored Sharpies in order to do our floor. I'm gonna pick out my favorite color, blue, and I'm gonna go ahead and mark off which ones I'm gonna color blue. So now that checkerboard floor really gives us the effect that it's all going in, that we are walking into this room. So this project is really like a mashup of Van Gogh's bedroom and the artwork of Miro, who's a Spanish artist, and his paintings were very child and dreamlike. He used a lot of different types of symbols, so I've given you a handout with some symbols that he pretty frequently used. So this is a surreal artwork. It's kind of dreamlike. It's not supposed to look like real life. If you look at the first one I did, I used a lot of his symbols to decorate my paper. So that's the next part you're gonna do. So now that I've got my paper really decorated with lots of different types of symbols, I'm gonna go ahead and grab the color Sharpies again and color some of the things, not everything. So now once you've got it pretty well decorated with some color, we're gonna go ahead and grab the crayons and we're gonna color everything else. So this project is technically a mixed media because you're using different types of art supplies to complete it. Now, this project is really about imagination and not having any specific rules to follow for these symbols. Make new ones up. These are just really good suggestions for you to get your creative juices flowing. So try to think a little bit outside the box and see what you come up with.